And that, my friend, was that part of the story when we spent the next couple of months to find a different truck and try to return this one. So the guy was a stickler. He was like a small mom and pop place, was selling really old trucks. And we waited 2 weeks. I couldn't sleep every single night. Every day my stomach was churning. It was like hurting. We were so poor. During that 2 weeks, we walked 11 miles one day to go pick up groceries, and we spent every dime we had on this beat up truck. Okay? And then after that, we were living out in a motel. We had our dog with us, our older one, Rue. And then after that, we came to a point where he was just like, I'm going to fix it, which is really cool. Thanks for fixing it. But it was going to be like a $20,000 job for all the problems that the mechanics at the shop would plug it into the computer, and it would have like 20 fucking like faults. Like, what the fuck? I felt bad, and I told my partner, hey, you know what? I got us into this. I am going to make it right. I'm going to get us out. So I sat the owner of the company down. I was like 27 at the time, or 26. I can't remember. I think I was like 26. And I was like, kind of put on my like big boy pants on, and I was like, hey, pretending to be all like, knowledgeable and shit. I was like, you should take this truck back. I told him, you should take this truck back, because I don't like to be the kind of person to leave, bad reviews on like Better Business Bureau and your Google and everything. I just don't want to be that kind of person. Like, I think you should do the right thing. You should let us off the hook. I offered to pay for anything that they paid for. They bought us like a couple lunches while we were waiting, try to be nice. They, drove us around. They got us a couple hotel night stays at the first. And then I said, no, like, I will pay for all that and I didn't have money, so I put it on my credit card. I will pay for all that if you let us off the hook with this truck. He agreed. He made a deal. We got out of it. Then we found another truck at a Freightliner dealership with this guy really hooked us up with. The only problem was we didn't, at that point, still understand what the horsepower meant, and we got a regional truck, and we were doing like big loads cross country. We got a 400 horsepower DD13 small engine, really weak, whatever. But without that truck, we wouldn't have made it through the whole next. We had that truck for about a whole year. Almost a year and a half. No, yeah, like a little less than a year and a half. And we saved every goddamn penny we made. What happened after that? Oh, so on that truck, we finally made it to our carrier, and I was trying to take care of stuff on my end. So I was telling my partner to, make this call to this person. Basically, how we set it up is every day we'd wake up, and I'd give him the rundown of the day, what we needed to do. And I'd tell him, okay, call this person, give them this information. Call this person, ask them a question, whatever. And then I had my own separate tasks. So that's kind of how we went about it. And he was perfectly fine with that, which worked out great for us. Hey guys, so I filmed this video yesterday, but I wanted to make an insert. Oh, the traffic is so bad in Wyoming right now. So I want to make an insert because I forgot to tell you, how did we qualify for insurance and our loan and everything when we were not qualified. Basically, today instead of Loves, I have Starbucks. I found a Starbucks at Laramie at the Safeway. I'm so happy. We just got back from the gym. Okay, so what was I saying? Here we go. So my partner didn't have enough experience. He didn't have the CDL for long enough. So the company that was going to give us the loan for our first truck, they weren't going to approve us. And he only had it for like a year and some. And basically, here's what I did. So I talked to the loan company, and I basically spent like an hour on the phone with them, at least, like describing to them how I was going to be successful trucking and all my logistics about it. I literally walked them through my whole business plan. I sent it to them. I told them I already had 3 years of business experience at that point, which I did, but not trucking or anything similar. And I basically told them that you're in good hands. Don't worry. We're like really hard workers. I will make sure that the loan is paid for. I will make sure that I'm successful in trucking. I talked a lot of game. I just believed it. I was like so, I can't even describe to you how it was, but that part, okay? When I was flying on the way to pick up our first truck in Kansas City, Missouri, we were in the airport, and the bobtail insurance that we had to get in order to pick up the truck called, and they were like, hey, I can't cover you because his license is only showing up a year and some of experience, and that's not good enough for our insurance. I didn't say anything, and then he said, oh, maybe it was he had a license in a different state that I can't pull up the history from. I was like, yes, that's what it is. It was in New York. And I was like, yeah, he had a whole nother year and some in New York, and it's just a different license, so you might not be able to find it. But he was like, I remember we were like standing in the corner at the airport on our way to pick up our truck. He said, okay, I mean, as long as you're being honest, and, you know, I sounded really professional on the phone. I sounded for real. That's the only way I can describe it. And everyone I talked to was just like, okay, we'll make an exception. Okay, we'll make an exception. Oh, I'm filming the video. And then we were on the Amazon run for the first couple of months and making like negative money most of the time. And then some of the times we were making like $3,000 for a month collectively. And I was so torn up about it. And this is when things really changed, because I was kind of afraid at that point. Like, I went through so much shit just to get to that point. I was afraid of, I was like, okay, we're making something, I'm just gonna stay here. So we stayed in that for 3 months, 3 months too long. But since now you know what happened before, you can understand why. And I called my mom one day and I was like, I gotta get us out of this. Like, we're not making any money. I gotta come up with another plan. I need to figure something out. How do I make money? And she said, you know, if you got yourself this far, I'm sure you can figure out, there's gotta be another way for you to make your own money. If you got this far, you just need to figure it out. You just need to start asking more people and whatever. So I went to the carrier and talked to this one guy. His name was Chris, and I also talked to this other owner-operator that had quit by this time, but they were saying, oh, booking your own loads might be the way for you to go, which it isn't for everyone, because some people just don't like it and they are not like good at it, whatever. So I was like, booking my own loads, like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. I was just like, show me, is there an app? Like, so they told me, okay, use the DAT board. That seems to be the best. Subscribe to like the highest one, and then you'll figure it out from there. And try to get more than $1 a mile. That was like the first advice I got. And I was like, okay, got it. More than $1 a mile. So I downloaded it like literally before I even walked out of right when I walked out of the shop that day. I already downloaded it and started looking at loads. And I literally booked my load like either the next morning or that day. I already booked it. I started small with like, I remember the first load I booked, the first load that we ever booked, I called the broker and I didn't really know what to say, but I was just like, I was so nervous, and I was like, there's this load going from here to here. And that's basically how you do it anyways. And then I remember it was like $600, and I didn't know you can negotiate at that time. So I was like, $600, oh my God, I can just make that now. Like, yes. So I took that load. It was like a regional one or something. And then after that, I just kept building up my confidence and looking brighter. And I spent every day on the DAT board studying it, studying lanes, studying all different states, studying different cities, studying different types of loads, studying long haul, short haul, studying, like, I spent, from the time we got off the Amazon run till COVID, I pretty much got a really good grasp on it, and I decided to go on the Denver run, which was like a secured run that at least we'll have a job. It was really hard during that time, but we got through it. And basically throughout this whole process, I had to be the one to make all the decisions, and I did feel a lot of burden because of it, but I am really proud of it, and I'm not going to take credit away where credit is due. I feel like what I've been going through this past 6 months is dealing with a lot of people, like I said, that are not in trucking, and them just approaching me and my partner, they automatically discredit me. I basically was calling all the shots and taking all the responsibility when things were going bad, and when the whole first year to year and a half was a real struggle. No, it was mainly just the first year. The first year was like a real struggle because our first year owner operating was when COVID happened, the whole second half of the first year. So that was really confusing to deal with. And it wasn't until this year did I really master the DAT board and really master how flexible, how I can make pretty much almost anything I want. And I really opened my mind and delved into it more deeply. And our story is like all over the place, and it's like there's so many, I mean, it's like this the whole way. It's just like that's how it is, but we're so happy to be where we are today. I don't think there's a time in my life where I had to be just as strong as I've had to be the last 6 months in this way. I've had to be stronger in other ways, but in this way where like every time we would show up to a situation, me and my partner, whether it is I'm driving the truck or he's driving, whatever, you guys, anyone who's out there that's a trucker knows how it is. Team driving is an equal split effort. You can't have one person doing everything. It just doesn't work. You're going to make half the money, most likely, and one person's going to get burnt out. And for the first year, shockingly, that was me. And it's crazy to say that, and no one would ever guess that, but I was so burnt out because I was carrying the responsibility for everything. I appreciate everything that he does, small or big, because that's what you have to do when you're in charge. You can't just because the other person can't do everything you do, it doesn't mean you just discredit them completely and write them off. But people will do that to me. And so I just have to swallow my pride. You know, I never even told you guys what happened after we started. Okay, so after like a month, I was kind of sick of like the bullshit, and I was like, you know what? Okay, we're done with the Amazon run. I was like, we're done with this. We're getting out in a couple weeks. I decided at that point I was gonna go get my license, and I was like, you know what, I feel like if I just put my mind to it, I can drive the truck. And at that point I had never driven the truck, and I didn't really know, but I was like, everything's riding on this right now. I have to do this. Like, we're so in debt at this point for months of like not making money and investing only and everything. So I found this like school that was like $1,500 in Florida, and it was basically a 4-day crash course where they just like teach you enough to pass the test. So I went to go take that, but I still had to learn how to straight back. I had to do 90-degree dock backing, and then I had to do offset backing. All of that for the test, along with all the other shit. And I had to do that all by myself because we couldn't afford for my partner to go with me and us take off work. So he just stayed on the Amazon run the last couple weeks we did it. I was planning already to get out of that run and do something better. So at that point, I went to get my license and my permit, license, everything in Florida, and then I went back to the truck. Went back, changed everything, changed the whole business concept, the whole dynamic. I was like, we're gonna go off on our own. Not that we're an authority yet, okay? That's like different. It's baby steps, okay? One at a time, sheesh. So I got my license, decided not only was I gonna run the whole business, but I was also gonna drive because I felt like that would just be much more profitable for our truck, you know, for the income for our truck. So I went and did that. Yeah, that's that story, and that's how that came about. And what's funny is I get that like I don't look or play the part. I get that I don't speak up about it. I get that I don't talk about it. I don't flaunt it. I don't tell anyone. Like, I've never told anyone what's happened and how this began and my journey and everything. But as much as I have this bad bitch attitude and I just like fucking just grab that shit and throw it off my shoulder, and I'm just like, all right, let's move on with the scene. Let's move on with the day. Let's move on with the load, whatever. Like, and then it just kept building up, and I kept pushing it back because I thought that was a tough way to deal with it. I thought that was the right way. I thought, you know, I just have to like shrug it off because that's life. Haters gonna hate, whatever. And then it just built up, and then the last couple weeks, oh my gosh, like it all came down on me. And I don't know, like I got to the point where I realized that I'm gonna have to deal with this. I'm gonna have to figure out my place in this world, as cliche as that sounds. But I figured out that I am gonna have to be stronger than I thought that I was gonna have to be. When I got into this, I didn't, and this may sound really stupid and silly, but I didn't realize it was a man-dominated job. I didn't know. Like, I didn't fucking know any truckers. I didn't know anything. I just fucking like did it. I don't know. I didn't think that it was like that big of a deal, I guess. But once I got into it, it took me a long time to also realize that. And then now, being more like putting myself out there, people just have a lot to say. What's funny is almost everyone that has the most to say is not a trucker. Like, why all these random people that have nothing to do with trucking have so much to say and so much opinions about it blows my mind. It's really annoying, but it's life, you know? It's life that, like, what I kind of learned from this situation is don't assume about other people too, because it's something very easy to do, and a lot of us do it. It's really hurtful for people to assume that I'm just like an airhead just because like I like to have fun and get my nails done, and I like to like be cute and shit, because like who doesn't want to be fucking cute? And just because of that, I can't know anything about trucking. Fun fact guys, my partner is not naturally good at trucking. He struggles with it a lot, and till this day, many years later, he's finally gotten better at backing up to a dock, but it's taken him so many years. He just naturally wasn't good at it, which is like crazy, the role reversal here. But like, it took me a couple days to be able to 90-degree dock back. It just came naturally, and it doesn't come naturally to him, and that's okay because he has his own strengths and I have mine. And it's funny because when I came into this, I thought I was just going to be the business person. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to assume the role of doing the paperwork and doing the business and setting it up, which I don't even know if that's my God-given role. But I just assumed that he was going to drive the truck and I wouldn't be able to, which was a pretty crazy assumption, because I was able to drive the truck and I was able to drive it. And I hate saying this. Okay, you know what? I don't like comparing me and him because we're just so different. I think it could partially have to do with the way I grew up, and I grew up in a really like male dominant household, a lot of testosterone, yeah, not a lot of like female presence. So my partner always told me I had the mouth of a sailor, and I don't think it's very like ladylike, so I've been really trying to work on not swearing as much. All this to say is, this is my story, and ultimately this is my channel that I started, and I feel like I didn't really hone it. And one of my New Year's resolution is and try to post on YouTube and go on Instagram, because like a lot of times I just live in my own world and I live in La La Land. If my partner wasn't there 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I would have done this. I would have found out, because it was inevitable that I find out, and I would have done it. But that's kind of like everything that I can remember in a nutshell about how I became an owner-operator, how I got into trucking, how it is being a woman trucker. It's not easy, but I love it, and it's my calling, and I'm never going to give it up. Just because some people want to hate, and just because some people want to say mean things, I'm never going to give up my dream just because some people don't agree with it, you know? Like, I don't want to hurt other people's feelings and make them feel bad. It's never what I want to do. Like, that's the hard part about this, is I hate when people are feeling bad because of me living my life. Like, that's just the worst feeling ever. And it's because I put myself out there on social media and whatever. But to all the people that feel upset for anything another person is doing and they're just living their life, do something for yourself. Do something. It could be as small or as big. Go out there and do something that's going to bring you self-worth and make you feel good. That's the only way. You're only hurting yourself by feeling that way towards other people and being hateful and stuff. It's only just going to pile up, and it's only damaging you in the long run. All these other people are just going to live their lives. They're going to push through it. They're going to get over it. The best way to get over pain or anything is to build yourself stronger. Go out there, do something that makes you proud, take a risk, say yes. That's also your New Year's resolution. Say yes to whatever you said no last year. Do something that you were too scared to do last year. Do something that was too risky, and it doesn't have to be trucking. And don't just go off and do trucking just because I said take a risk. Anyways, guys, this video is like super duper long, so I'm gonna let you go. That's the story of how I became an owner-operator and how I started trucking and how I even heard about it in the first place. And this is my journey, and Happy New Year, and thank you for watching another video of mine. And don't forget to watch Shipping Wars. The next episode I think is gonna be pretty good. The last one was like okay. So far my favorite ones was bumper cars, because that was like my breakthrough when I finally just like got past like the fear that I was and the anxiety on set. And then after that, my favorite episode is gonna be the next one. So there was like fire truck, there was tower, there was steeple that just aired yesterday, and that one was okay. And then the next one should be pretty funny. It should be pretty good. I'm not gonna give any clues, but pew 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 pew, that's it. Okay, bye guys, see you next time.